Okay, people, so we've got another David update once again, courtesy of TMZ, and this one is very, very interesting, okay? So TMZ are claiming that they have secured an interview with an ex-boyfriend of Celeste. Now, there was this previous video that we'd reacted to of a woman seemingly explaining that her son had dated Celeste, and that she would come to the house with bruises on her arm. People were saying that was indicative of this turbulent home life that we've been hearing about. I don't know if this is the exact same person, but TMZ have now run a full-blown story with a 3-minute video interview. It says, ex-boyfriend says she jokes about running away from troubled home. Okay. So this says, a California teenager who once dated Celeste Rivas back in middle school is speaking out, saying that she indeed had a troubled home life before running away and her mother treated her badly. In an exclusive interview with TMZ, 15-year-old Damian Hernandez and his mother Jamie told us about his relationship with Celeste at Lake Elsinore Middle School, and Celeste was in the 7th grade and Damian was in the 8th grade. That's probably a bit more of an acceptable age gap, I think, folks. Damian says that he met Celeste when she was looking for something serious, describing her as kind, and he said that her troubled home life made her unhappy, noting that her mother didn't treat her well. Damien said she talked about running away from her Lake Elsinore home and even joked about it around school, and then one day she was gone, and that's Damien there. It says, but what's more, Damien says he heard about Celeste's alleged relationship with singer David, but was surprised because he thought she was happy outside of her home life. Okay, it says, basically, as you know, Celeste was found in the trunk of David's Tesla once news broke. Damien recalled feeling shocked and saddened. He regretted never getting a chance to say goodbye to Celeste. Damien sums it up this way, like, no one cared. I don't know. I should have done something. Okay, so let's take a look at the interview. We'll break this down and get a deeper understanding of what this young man experienced dating Celeste.
How did you meet Celeste?
Through a friend.
Tell me how that whole relationship started.
She was, I guess she liked me or she was looking for someone, and yeah, we started talking.
And what school was this in?
Lakeland Village.
Was she sweet? Was she kind? Was she bubbly? What do you remember about her?
She was really kind, and she said she wanted something serious.
And how old were you when you met her?
13 or 14.
Now, I feel like it's interesting that he's saying that she said she wanted something serious. I'm not trying to like disrespect her or anything like that, but I feel like when you're a kid, some people do get in serious relationships in high school and, you know, end up staying with that person for the rest of their life. That does happen. But I would say that, you know, kids, 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, it's like, what really is something serious to you guys at this stage? But that goes to show you, if that's what she wanted and she wanted something serious, that's where, you know, a nefarious older boy can begin to offer something that they think looks more serious. And, you know, manage to convince somebody to kind of leave their childhood home, leave their childhood habits, and try and get into some adult stuff. You know, that's not me trying to justify it. I'm just trying to get into the mindset that would try and help me to understand why a child would run away from home. And if they were looking for something serious in this adult, you know, from all of these songs that David released, it sounded like he was in serious relationships. To all of this talk about heartbreak and jealousy, the way David talked about the relationships that he was in, it sounded like they were indeed serious.
So at what point did you feel or did you hear from Celeste that there were problems at home?
She said how her mom didn't treat her well or whatever, and she didn't like where she was at.
Did she talk at all about her relationship with her parents?
Kind of. She just said they were mean or whatever. She didn't like them.
And then you guys broke up, and the next thing you know, you find out that she's involved with this internet sensation, David.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna happen, like, at all, because like she was always like so happy and stuff.
What is your last memory that you have of Celeste?
I mean, just think how bizarre that would be, right? You're 13, 14, you're, you know, having your childhood relationships, and then you come to find out that the girl you were dating is now dating a famous singer who's way older. The relationship really is illegal. That's crazy. I mean, look, people, I'm not going to lie. It's like, I remember growing up and, you know, the girls in my school dating older guys that could drive, guys that were of age. Like, that was a thing. That was a thing that happened. And, you know, I've heard other people talking about that in the US as well, that being a common thing, like the young girl, underage girls dating these older guys who've got cars and it's super impressive. They're super impressed by what's going on. But just imagine how dark that would be. Your childhood crush, your you know, schoolyard sweetheart, Suddenly you find out she's dating this weird, like, Hollywood singer. Like, that's got to burn.
Celeste.
We were at PE, and she told me and my friend that she was running away, and she said it was because of her parents, and she was like joking about it, and she was like happy, like joking like she always was, and like it didn't seem real because like she was like playing around, joking about it, and the next day she wasn't at school, and like that's the last time I saw her.
So she really told her classmates, I'm running away. That's the plan. I'm going to get out here. It's actually crazy to think about, really, that you know, these type of conversations. I mean, there was times when I was a kid I wanted to run away, but that wasn't really a serious thing that ever happened. But you know, you probably don't take these things seriously when you got classmates in your school saying, "Yeah, I'm going to run away. It's finally that time." You know, you could see people just not taking that seriously and just saying, "Yeah, whatever." But then they disappear, and you would never expect somebody to wind up, you know, resurfacing the way Celeste did. It's really sad.
Did it break your heart that you were not going to be with her, or did you feel upset about losing the relationship?
Not really. It was kind of clear that we're like better as friends, but it was kind of sad that I wasn't able to like say goodbye, or like see how she was doing, like when she ran away.
What was your reaction when you saw the breaking news that they had found your ex-girlfriend's body in the trunk of his car?
My heart dropped. I was like, I don't know. I just couldn't believe it. I kind of had a feeling when I saw like the first thing. I was like, what if it is her? But I just like brushed it off. But when I saw it really was her, I was like, damn, I really knew.
So let me just make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You had seen the news out of Los Angeles that a body was found in his car.
Yeah.
And you immediately had a sinister thought about Celeste?
Yeah, because one of my friends told me.
Were you at home with your mom when they identified Celeste and you saw it all over the news? Can you remember that moment for us?
Yeah, I was on the way to school, and then like she just like showed me, and like I took a picture of it and I sent it to one of my friends, and he's like, yeah, I saw it too, it's crazy. And I just couldn't believe it.
So this has been the talk of the school?
Yeah.
Just the fact it was someone that my son was so close to at one time, and how everything happened, it's kind of scary. It's really close to home. And if it could happen to her, it could happen to anyone. And everyone just needs to be very careful on social media.
What about you? What do you think about at night when this kind of flashes through your mind?
I just think like if someone actually like did something, like when she said she was gonna run away, because I feel like no one cared.
That's really sad, man. He's saying he wishes he could have done something and it just felt like nobody cared about her. No one cared about what was going on with her, what happened to her. So the various subreddits have been posting this. They've been reacting to this update from TMZ in this interview. People are saying that's probably the TikTok mom from a few days ago. So it's nothing new in that sense. But what's interesting / strange to me is that they're saying that the body was dismembered even after being in contact with the LAPD. And was it not dismembered though? Well, people aren't sure. People saying, I see exactly where this is going. Keep in mind that David's lawyer has strong personal connections with Harvey Levin, who's the founder of TMZ. I think that they're hoping that the death can't be pinned on David. You might be wondering, so why would they admit Celeste and David had a relationship? Well, it's not illegal to date a minor. Really? Is that true? But it is illegal to have S with a minor. They will play the narrative that he took the parent role in their relationship due to her not having good parents. This lawyer is good, real good. I feel like we're going to have another O.J. Simpson case. People are saying, I'm noticing a trend of a big shift from David to everything related to Celeste, and not in a good way. Lots of comments online seem to be very negative, and there seems to be more victim blaming than ever. Okay, I don't think so. Unlike OJ, he wasn't a PDF. David, on the other hand, it's like Epstein and Diddy combined. Even if David gets out of his career, it won't be the same. Or I think that means gets out with his career. The main public opinion is still going to dislike him for messing a minor, and his friends like Jason and Cat's Eye will abandon him as well. They've got to prove their relationship was S-related, though. The only way they can really prove that is if they found digital evidence like sexting, which if he was smart about it, he could have easily avoided. The worst thing about this is that men in this position do often feign like they care about us like a parent would, while they take whatever S benefits they can exploit from us. My best friend was 15 when involved with so many older men, the oldest being 35 at the time. In hindsight, I can totally see how that man especially played this role. He was taking care of her because her mom was a dirtbag, but really it was all about the S that he was getting from her. Was saying I could see them saying he took on a caregiver role and they were friends, which is true to an extent, except it's clear that they were romantically involved, perhaps not physically, who knows, and she believed that he would marry her. Still, if he's her caregiver or whatever, he's responsible for her safety, and under his control, she not only died, but her remains were thrown in a garbage bag and stuffed in a car trunk. This person says, this is sad. I can relate. I was abused mentally by both parents. My mum always made me feel like a stranger. When you're young, it's the biggest heartbreak of life to not feel loved by your parents. It breaks my heart to hear that she was looking for something serious. That poor baby was chasing love in the wrong place, looking for someone to care. Shake my head. This person says, not surprised to read that the mother treated her badly. I went on the mother's Facebook and she only posted one time of Celeste being missing. The rest of her posts were shit posts. It says it's still relevant that TMZ brings this up because they have to be somewhat accountable for what they publish. On TikTok, anyone can say anything. We could not be sure the video was the truth. Now at least we have some fact check. It says when they say that he said that he's heard about her alleged relationship with David, does that mean he's only heard because of the case, or does it mean he heard about it before the case? I wish they'd made it more obvious what he was talking about. People saying I wish he was clear about that as well, but it sounded like it was an open secret. He mentioned that he and his friends assumed the body discovered on the 8th of September was Celeste, and we would find out later on the 17th that it was her. This person says, yeah, I watched it and noticed that, and that question seemed really weirdly answered. He said that he had a feeling, but then deflected it to be because his friend had texted him saying it. It most likely, he was probably just nervous as hell doing an interview like this. That's how it seems throughout the interview. I wish they could have let him answer better by putting him in a better environment, maybe just a speaking, no face-to-face interview to make him more comfortable. But yes, it does seem to be all coming together a bit more now, like people did know about it, but that just makes it even worse because people knew about it and let it happen. Even if they were also 14, 15, they should know better. When I was 14, 15, I heard of someone in their 20s trying to date one of my friends, and the rest of my friends would go F them up, not say, I'll be quiet if you give me money. People are saying, okay, so everyone at her school knew. There's a video of her teacher talking about her. They all knew she was with David. Yeah, I've seen that video, and now it's got me wondering, why did he not report the fact that one of his students was dating an adult to the police? This is after recruiting a child to date on the internet, he groomed an entire community to just accept it as normal that a grown man was dating a middle schooler because he had status and money that could save her from her home life. This is disturbingly dystopian modern parable. I bet this happens a lot more often than we realize. It just doesn't make the news, and people are saying it happens every day. Unfortunately, people saying, I wish the cops would say something more. At this point, the public is going to have enough reasonable doubt to say it wasn't David, it was her mum, the neighbors, or someone random. People saying, how could it be her mum? I don't believe that. No doubt family life pushed her away, but I wonder, did they abuse her or something else? Someone says, I have a theory on this based on a comment I read a while back. I personally think Celeste was neglected, definitely emotionally. Not sure about physically, though. I do feel that David saw this and groomed her. David was filling that emotional void that she never got from her family. There was also a screenshot that leaked of Celeste talking to her friends about two guys that she hooked up with, including David. After some digging through all the screenshots, deep dives, and threads, I realized that there were signs that she was abused from a young age. I don't know if this was done by someone in or close to the family or a stranger, but it makes me wonder if she told her mother about the abuse and the mother just brushed her off. Okay. So there's been more analysis of this. There's been other Reddit posts about this, and people have reposted the whole interview. We've already checked that out, but let's see what else people are saying. People are just saying every time we hear more news, it gets sadder and sadder about the whole thing. They asked 0 good questions. People saying they did appreciate the insights on her personality. I wish they would interview people close to her, more about who she really was, her hobbies, interests, etc. I guess she was so young, she was probably still figuring herself out. People are saying this interview is weird as hell and that they're milking it. Okay, but at the end of the day, this is just new information, new insights. Everybody's trying to get to the bottom of this thing. And since the police haven't got any big updates, this is all we got right now, okay? Didn't ask him when they broke up, when they were together. Did she mention David at all? This was a useless interview. TMZ has definitely been bought by David's PR. I don't know what this has to do with figuring out what happened to her. So people think this interview is kind of cleaning him up a little bit. I don't know. Further pointing to a broken home, which is sad. I wish he had someone to talk to before leaving home. School never saw any signs. Also, I feel like he should have reported what she said to a teacher. Okay. People saying, caution, unverified. Well, if this is the same boyfriend whose mother gave an interview a few days ago, it sounds like Celeste had bruises on her arms that she attributed to her own mother. According to that interview, the bruises reported to the school by multiple people, and Celeste's family was investigated and cleared of any wrongdoing. I don't know if that's the same mother-boyfriend pair or if they're just saying it's true. It's all unverified. I'm just adding that for context. All right, I don't agree with this comment, but I'm gonna read it because this is a whole different perspective. All right, and it says, "Get this random ass loser off of here. This clown is looking for attention because he had one class with her years ago. Y'all are dumb as hell to think this is evidence. He literally says she talked about how she wasn't treated well by her parents. Then he gets asked, did she say how she was treated? And he said, no, not really. Then he said, no, not really. When he was asked, was he heartbroken that he couldn't be with her? Then he said that his friend told him about it. He wasn't even close enough for her to find out first. By the way, his mother, shut up. Nobody asked you to speak for him either." So some people ain't feeling that. Okay. But essentially, okay, this is, this is an update. This is all we've got. This is all we're working with right now. Okay. I think we already saw this one, but some people are hating on TMZ. A lot of people are hating on TMZ. They're saying, is it a bad source? Can it be trusted? This says, is TMZ a bad source regarding the Celeste and David case? I've seen a lot more posts and comments shining a negative light on TMZ following the most recent video of Celeste. I've seen where they're supposedly untrustworthy due to their ties with Blair Burke. Do you feel this is a legitimate reason for concern? Do you really believe they would help direct favor in David's direction? In my mind, I would hope this isn't really the case. Even if Harvey and Blair have some kind of friendship outside of this, that there would still be a level of professionalism between the two beings. Harvey himself used to be a lawyer, and I guess considering it's involving a child, that personal relationship wouldn't get in the way of righteousness for Celeste. But sadly, I'm also becoming more and more aware of how dirty this kind of stuff can be. So basically, I really am genuinely curious how you all feel about it, because I want to be as enlightened as possible given the seriousness of it all. And then this person says, they're the only one giving new info out, so everyone's following it. However, they have a connection to David's lawyer, so it's very skewed towards character assassination towards Celeste. Edit, take a look at TMZ's Instagram right now. Men and women both writing things about how she was loose because she had more than one boyfriend, how she was a bad kid and deserved to be deported. That's crazy, FTMZ. Because when they said that David might have been framed, I lost it. Other people are saying it is a reliable source, but Blair will use her connections to provide information that benefits her client. Think about it. For the past few days, the only information that TMZ has independently sourced is trying to make Celeste and her family seem like bad people. TMZ is not allowed legally to spread misinformation, but they are allowed to choose what to report in order to sway the public's opinion. This person saying, no, most of this information is irrelevant and will have no bearing on the actual facts and evidence of this case, which is all that matters. The evidence will speak for itself, and no smear campaign can change that. Somebody said I got downvoted for saying this earlier, but that interview with her ex-boyfriend they posted is very interesting. Yeah, the interview is interesting, and it rubs me the wrong way. It just continues to fuel the idea Celeste didn't really have anyone in her corner. It says, yeah, I don't know if they're trying to manipulate the public and make it seem like Celeste's family is bad, so that means Celeste ran away of her own free will. But all that is saying to me is a vulnerable child was convinced by an adult to run away to them because they knew they could prey on a vulnerable child. I've always thought that he's been guilty since things started to get uncovered, but I've also been saying that we can't just assume that he is without proper information from the proper authorities. But that interview is making me think I don't even need the authorities to tell me anymore. It's like the kid thinks he's going to be in trouble for knowing they were in a relationship, so he doesn't want to say too much. People saying, I agree, she was just a kid, maybe she did some dumb things, but so did I when I was young, so did most people. Everyone around failed her, either by circumstance or malice. This person says, well, my main point about TMZ was that they posted a photo of Celeste and David together during the week. The photo in question was a fabricated photo made using AI. I just think that they're going to use a photo like that, which everyone figured out was AI before they used it, makes them as source seem unreliable to me. And since I've been... Bro, we need some punctuation. And since that, I've been focusing on waiting for police statements. People say they don't have the photo. I don't know if that's true. Someone in another thread made the wise comments. It's not so much that TMZ publishes stuff that's untrue. It's that they publish some stuff that's unethical, either their means of obtaining it or because the damage it can cause. Being a former lawyer himself and probably employing some top-notch libel attorneys, Harvey knows exactly where the line is in regards to legality. Ethics, not so much. I wrote this on another post discussing the footage and how David's lawyer could be feeding into this spun narrative. If she was older, I could understand how the TMZ footage might be used to manipulate public opinion and tarnish her. But at the end of the day, she was a child of 13. One of the important things that matters from this is the date, how it helps clean up part of the timeline leading to her death. What it also highlights is the role of the adults in her life and the extent of their contribution or lack thereof to the tragic turn of events. None of this makes David look innocent, nor does it suggest that Celeste was such a problem who somehow warranted being killed. What it does show is that there was some form of cover-up by David and the adults in her life. That cover-up by her family may not have been malicious, but rather a response born out of necessity and their circumstances. He was saying apparently they pay good money to get the information that they do, but David's new lawyer is using TMZ for PR now. The information they release is true, but it's only being used to damage the image of Celeste in their attempt to repair David's image. So I would take everything with a grain of salt. That whatever they release probably has the undertones of doing damage control for David or just floating around what we already knew to keep up engagement. Okay, so yeah, there's been one more post focusing on the lawyer. People are really not feeling this lawyer, okay? This says, what you should know about David's crisis lawyer, Blair Burke. As reported, David has retained attorney Blair Burke to represent him. Burke is a prominent Hollywood defense attorney known for taking on high-profile clients in the midst of a crisis, especially men accused of misconduct, ranging from sexual assault to domestic violence. Burke's list of clients has included Harvey Weinstein, Ed Westwick, Johnny Depp, Marilyn Manson, Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Armie Hammer. Burke's reputation as a high-profile attorney is part of her role as a Hollywood fixer, a lawyer sought out during moments of intense public scrutiny or prior to, in order to coordinate both the legal strategy and the accompanying public relations response. Burke is linked to TMZ. She's been described as Harvey Levin's good friend and vacation buddy, and Levin is the founder of TMZ. This connection is noteworthy because TMZ's recent coverage of the case, particularly stories that highlighted Celeste's alleged uses of fake IDs, and framing questions about whether she misled David or was a promiscuous teenager. Just today, TMZ published a video showing Celeste arguing with her neighbors. When celebrities face serious allegations, the response is often not just a legal defense, but also a coordinated media strategy to discredit the victims or accusers, reframe the narrative, and preserve the accused's public image. We've seen this repeatedly with clients that Burke has represented. Beyond media outreach, coordinated social media smear campaigns also have become a new tool in these cases. These campaigns often rely on bot networks or anonymous burner accounts to flood platforms like Twitter, Insta, and TikTok with posts that discredit the victims or accusers. The reason I bring this up because it's crucial to understand how these types of dynamics operate. When celebrities face serious allegations, their goal goes beyond avoiding legal consequences, but they also work to protect their public image, knowing that their careers depend on it. This makes media literacy essential, and people should be aware that the news coverage and online discourse may be shaped by strategic PR methods. People are saying, mods, can we pin this? It's important that people know about what could be happening behind the scenes when sharing content. This person says, thank you for bringing such important information to everyone's attention. We can't take TMZ or any news outlet as gold and believe everything they say all the time. Yeah, this is saying, how can they frame questions about whether she misled David or was a promiscuous teenager? The damn girl was a teen for 2 years barely. She died at 14. So of her teen years, she only lived for 2, 13, and 14 of those years. The rest of her life, she was a legit child or kid with a broken home that David exploited and took advantage of, probably, and got her under his control. He was saying good points, and people underestimate how much Reddit is used by celebrities in their PR. The cleanup crew is definitely around these subs, especially those commenters and posters that pretend to be in good faith, just curious, or ask people to set out exactly why Celeste and the PDF had a relationship, other points like that. Man. So this person says, thank you. This is what I've been trying to say since the conspiracy theory started around her family. It's effing clear as day that David's team is working overtime to protect his public image and continue profiting off him regardless of the results of the investigation. But also, importantly, while the investigation is still ongoing, this time period between now and the end of any trial that comes is crucial for them. He was saying, I wonder how lawyers like her sleep at night knowing the whole life is dedicated to helping men like that. People are saying she is not a girl's girl, right? It's unfortunately part of her job. People say, yeah, basically. This is very concerning, especially since TMZ seemed to play a role early on in the story where they said in an article that they received a tip about who could be in the front and called her family members, and then the family members contacted law enforcement, not TMZ who got the tip. That's how I read it. Sorry, I don't have the link at the moment. Oh, wow. Since all those men were guilty of being dirtbags, I'm sure this one will be no different. People are saying, I would also add that in my opinion, it's pretty telling that she hadn't released a statement. Her client is hemorrhaging brand deals, sponsorships, and goodwill, and her specialty is high-profile cases that require PR. I would anticipate that if she felt like she could defend David on the merits, she would have released a statement, reminding the public that her client has not even been charged with a crime, let alone convicted. I would imagine that behind the scenes, she's threatening lawsuits for breach of contract with David's distributors, brand deals, etc., but it's been silent. I think it's because she, Burke, expects an arrest to come soon and doesn't want to build an argument of innocence based on the lack of arrest. I suspect that she's currently trying to capitalize on the time it's taking the DA to file charges by using bots to plant seeds of doubt. We've all seen them, a noticeable uptick in what if he is innocent posts and overdose theories. Guys, don't fall for it. Investigations take a long time and the LAPD has no reason to rush this. David is being monitored. He will not leave the country or hurt anyone else without being arrested immediately. He is a suspect and that's why they searched his home. They are not sharing more information than is absolutely necessary because they do not want to tip off David or his team as to where they are in their investigation. David may not be the only person in hot water. If I had to guess, I'd say that they're probably building cases against other people and trying to convert them to witnesses who would testify against David. The fact they are so silent and that they've not come out to the public for help is a good sign that they know exactly who's responsible for Celeste's death. Don't let Burke's bots and other BS sway you. I've been following active investigations for over a decade now and they never tell you anything unless they need the public's help. He probably won't ever even be officially named as a suspect, just arrested one day. Trust the process. I don't trust police generally, but detectives, especially in homicides involving minors, are generally doing good work to the absolute best of their abilities. They aren't traffic cops doing warrantless Terry stops and planting drugs to meet arrest quotas. Have faith. Okay. People are saying David is somehow going to get off like OJ, isn't he? It's sickening. People are saying she's going to slander an innocent child like she slandered Amber Heard. Not that Amber was totally innocent, but she was still abused by Johnny Depp and made Johnny Depp out to be a saint when he was an abusive addict creep. Okay, so I think those theories about the lawyer is actually really interesting. I didn't know about the connections between Blair Burke and Harvey Levin. Okay, that's actually a really interesting point, and it makes sense, all right? It makes sense. Look, somebody's doing PR. The guy's got a lot of money. The guy's made millions of dollars. He had a $3 million advance. Okay, he might well have made a whole other $1 million since this all happened. The streaming numbers have been crazy. His song's back on the Billboard charts. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of money is being spent on PR. But I would say that I'm just going to look something up real quick. All right, I'm not seeing what I thought I was going to see, but wait a minute. All right, this is one more thing I'm going to add quickly. I just looked her up, okay, and this is Variety's Legal Impact Report 2025. Meet Hollywood's top entertainment attorneys, okay, and Blair Burke and Andrew Brettler do appear on the list. It says Burke and Brettler are the go-to lawyers for celebrities in trouble. Burke handles criminal law, Brettler the civil side, but often they work together. When Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was caught embezzling the Dodgers star's money to bet on sports, Ohtani turned to Burke and Brettler to keep his name clean. Together, they're keeping former Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist Josh Klinghoffer, who's facing criminal charges and a lawsuit in connection with a fatal car accident. Brettler thinks he got the better end of his partnership with Burke. Her bedside manner with clients is second to none, he says. I've never seen such a fantastic attorney also be able to speak with empathy and compassion. Crisis management. It's really important to stay cool under pressure, says Brettler, for the sake of the client, obviously, but also for you yourself as a professional, because we do take on a lot of our clients' burdens. Okay, so look, these guys are as good as it gets when it comes to crisis management. All right, criminal cases, civil cases, they got everything covered. And I don't know. I feel like it is a stretch to say that they're placing stories at TMZ, and that they're controlling the subreddit and they're putting things on the subreddit. But no doubt these are serious people. Okay, these are the folks that you want when you get found with a body in your trunk, quite literally. Okay, so they're probably doing their utmost to try and protect David. They're probably trying to do their best to try and keep the heat off of him, create a airtight criminal defense. And I do think that it is interesting. There's always going to be people that are going to take your money and take your corner. Right now, in the court of public opinion, David is guilty, but in the court of law, he's not been proven guilty. He's innocent until proven guilty. That is facts. That's just a true statement. He is innocent until proven guilty. He's not been proven guilty, but the court of public opinion definitely does have a certain slant on how it's feeling about the David situation. So we're going to find out more, but no doubt he's going to put up a hell of a defense. Okay, he's got the best lawyers on his side, and it doesn't matter what TMZ are posting. Ex-boyfriend, whatever, all of that stuff. I still don't think that that helps David. I don't think that, you know, tarnishing the girl or her family's reputation is actually really going to help. You got found with a body in your trunk. That's hard to clean up. So yeah, we're going to get some more updates hopefully soon. But yeah, no doubt his lawyers are working overtime to try and make this a good case for him. So I'll keep you posted. I'll hit you with another update very soon. And thanks to everybody that tuned into the live yesterday. Got more content coming. I will be reacting to some other interesting news. Catch you there.